So in order to perform this, you want to grab a very light kettlebell to start. The reason for this is that you're just patterning the movement from hinge to squat. Eventually, as you get more comfortable with this, you can load it up. So we're going to grab a bell that's light enough that you don't have to think about the weight. When you grab that bell, you're going to assume your deadlift stance. In that deadlift stance, you're going to perform 5 deadlifts, guiding the hands back as far as you can and standing up. As you're going into your hinge, you just simply want to make sure that you have solid foot position, that your hips are as deep as they possibly can go without lifting the toes, and that you have a nice long spine. After this, you're going to grab the bell with the handle down, bottom up, and you're going to open your grip. The reason for this is, as you descend into your deadlift and guide this bell back, you're also pulling this bell apart. And by doing that, you're going to create a good shoulder position and a nice long spine. So I'm going to perform about 4 reps. I'm going to guide the bell back, pause, curl and pull my hips down, and then stand up. Handle down, pull the bell apart, guide the bell back, find the bottom position, curl and pull your body down. One more time. So what we're doing here is we are teaching the squat from the hinge position. And why this feels comfortable for most is because a lot of people tend to have a fear of squatting from the top down, simply because of mobility, ankle, knees, spine. Maybe it never felt comfortable before for them. So now you're giving them another option, a safer option, to go from the hinge to the squat. Everyone's range of motion is going to be different. The key to this is understanding that you're going from the hinge as deep as you can to dropping the hips and then standing up. That hip height is going to be different for everyone. The idea, though, eventually is to teach the concept of curling and pulling your body underneath that bell. The curling motion of the arm from here allows the hips to drop. So notice in this position, my elbows slide along my thighs, keeping the knees tracking the toes. And then from the bottom position, I'm just going to stand. So not only does it teach how to pull your hips under the bell, but it also allows the knees to line up well where they're supposed to be. So this is a great way to establish the squat from the hinge position. I came up with this because I had many students have this sort of uncomfortable feeling, or sometimes a fear of squatting too low, or their inability to squat. So this was a nice way to access their squat pattern while still developing the hip hinge. Now, over time, what you will see is that not everyone's squat stance is the same as their hip hinge or their deadlift. So as they feel comfortable with this idea of going from hinge to squat, I can slowly start narrowing their stance based on where they're comfortable for their squat. So if this is my hinge stance, I'm going to pull myself a little closer together, and I can still pattern this hinge. Now when I pull myself under into the squat, it feels more comfortable because this is my squat stance. So over a period of time, depending on the student's progression, you want to slightly narrow the stance. And in this process, you will start to figure out what their most comfortable, most powerful squat stance is. Most important thing about this is to go slow. Be patient. Observe. Set the baseline. See where your student is first with the hinge, and then slowly progress them to lowering the hips into that squat position and then standing. Bell size is important. You do not want to go heavy enough that they're thinking about the weight. You want it light enough that it's just enough to get their hands back as deep as they can in that hinge position and allowing them a slight counterbalance to drop their hips and then feel comfortable standing. So give this a try and let me know if you have any questions.